Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Today's topic is about mindfulness-based stress reduction and the orientation class. And really what I wanted to talk about today, a bit more than that, and actually it was mostly as I started looking through the materials again, just to realize that for me to walk through the 8-week MBSR class here on Insight Timer has risks, and it also it should not have the same expectation, I think, as a real MBSR class. And you know, what's the reason for that is that the MBSR class is held within a container. You know, I think that's the kind of the way that I'd like to talk about it, is that this container is a confidential container, so that when I am in person, or during COVID, I taught MBSR on Zoom. It is a group of people. It's a group of 8 to 20 people. And we know that each week we can count on seeing each other there. And we have all kind of taken a vow of confidentiality with each other that we're going to hold this space for each other. And that allows for people to be more open to what their experience is. So this is one thing that I find it would be really different about teaching mindfulness-based stress reduction in its entirety as a free course live on Insight Timer. So this makes it a bit different. Similarly, something else is, well, again, it's that group of people. We're with this container, we're with this group of people that are going to hold each other accountable. I know I'm going to see person X in class next week, and it's going to help to keep me on doing my daily meditations because the class does unfold as time goes on. And inevitably, as I've taught MBSR, I've found that some people, a percentage of participants, won't do the meditations and may feel a bit alienated. And I think that's, it's important that if the practice isn't done, that there is that impact. And we see in the class that, hey, I'm not getting the same results as other people in the class because I have opted out of doing the meditation. Maybe I'm hoping to absorb everything that I can through the class itself. So I think that accountability is really important in an MBSR class. And the other thing too is that if I'm teaching here as a live event, and I did try, by the way, to teach MBSR as a what do they call it, a workshop here on Insight Timer, and it just didn't work out for whatever reason. Number one, probably the commitment was an issue. that people weren't able to commit to making sure to be there every week. And two was the price, right? MBSR is not a cheap course to take as well. So these two things kind of stopped MBSR from being taught on Insight Timer in its intended format. So if I'm teaching it as a live event here, people can come and go as they please. And so when you walk into class number 3 and you haven't taken the orientation, you haven't taken class 1, class 2, class 3, it's really, this course builds upon itself. So you're not able to really get up to speed. And as well, people who would be sharing, here's what happened this week as I've been meditating every day for the past 3 weeks for 45 minutes to an hour a day. So I think that this is one of the core key differences between trying to do it in this format and doing it in the intended class container that mindfulness-based stress reduction is intended to be taught in. So it's so I mean, it is what it is. And so this is my fear about the risks of doing it this way, of offering these few weeks as teaching MBSR. But so on the other hand are the benefits. And I look at Dave Palouse at Palouse Mindfulness. If you haven't checked out his website, he has his version of MBSR available for free to take on your own, and to take at your own time and your own pace. And so I've been kind of reluctant to do something like that, because I think MBSR in its 8-week format, in its in-person class format, has specific benefits, and there's a reason that it's taught that way. And I think that if you want to see the real benefits of this course, the way to do it is in this either in person or in Zoom format, so that you can have that container of confidentiality, of accountability, of repeatability, having the same people there who are on this journey with you. So that said, this would be the next best thing. So today I'm not really going through the orientation. I'm instead kind of walking through this logic, so that if you do decide to sit with me in this upcoming 8-week kind of format that we might be doing, is just what you can expect, what may or may not happen. And I'll go through some of that more, of risks and benefits, more of the in-depth orientation in the following weeks. And so, and what's coming next in the next few weeks as well, I'll tell you about after we finish our practice today. But I just kind of wanted to make sure to talk through all of that before we really get into the real subject matter of the course. So, and I'm happy. Again, I think this is it's a good public service to offer. I think a lot of people can benefit from it. So I'm happy to offer MBSR, and maybe consider offering it in other formats as well. And perhaps I might start teaching it online in its entirety at some point when I have when again my priority list changes. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into practice. So what I'm going to do today for practice is to do with the MBSR orientation practice. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. And we can practice mindfulness by intentionally bringing our attention to the present. And what is always in the present is the physical body. So you can tune into your present moment awareness by feeling into your physical body. So you can close your eyes, you can leave your eyes open if you like, and just invite you to take your left arm and slowly raise your left arm towards the ceiling. So pointing your fingers towards the ceiling, reaching out and noticing what's happening in the shoulder. Maybe you're feeling your shoulder moving in the socket. Feeling the side of the body, noticing the side of the body, how the side of the body feels as we stretch out. And so I'd just like to remind you that you can stop anytime you want. You don't have to keep holding your arm up in the air if that's really uncomfortable for you. the invitation is to see what it's like to push gently into your boundaries. So now, as the arm is held here, what sensations do I feel in the shoulders? What sensation do I feel in my upper arm area? What do I feel in my forearm? What do I feel in my hand? In my fingers? Is fatigue beginning to set in? What is that? What does fatigue feel like? Is it the sensation in the shoulder? Is it in the hand? Is it somewhere in the arm? So zeroing in on the sensations that you're feeling right now. Is the breathing changing? Is the pace of the breath increasing at all? So just noticing in the present moment what is going on. And as best you can, bring all of your attention to that. And now I'm going to invite you to slowly bring that arm back down, very slowly, so that it can be obvious how things are changing moment by moment. So as my upper arm is parallel to the floor, I'm feeling changes in the sensations in my shoulder. And then as the upper arm is going down, more changes. And then I'm going to place my left hand on my knee. And now feeling moment by moment what changes. So I'm relaxing. I'm noticing that the discomfort I was feeling in my arm has not yet completely subsided. So now whatever you like, maybe you want to massage your shoulder with your other hand. Kind of invite a little bit more relief. Okay. And again, this is not meant to be a challenge, not meant to be something that we're trying to achieve in any way. This is an exploration of the body and exploration of physical sensations in the present moment. So now I'm going to invite you to use the other arm. Slowly bring that hand and arm up. So stretching out, noticing how the shoulder may move around in the socket as we stretch upwards, feeling as well what's going on in the shoulder blade, feeling the stretch in the side body. And so what physical sensations do you feel? So one thing that I'm noticing here, especially as I focus attention into my hand here in the beginning of this exercise, is I can actually feel gravity pulling the blood out of my hand. The temperature of my hand changing, cooling off. Fatigue starting in the shoulder already. a bit of tingling in the fingers. Sensations in the forearm. So as we do these physical activities, we can notice, especially something like this, moment by moment, the changes. And so we can use the physical sensations as anchors into the present moment. So it may be uncomfortable. Can we see our attitudes towards it, the discomfort we may be feeling? Is there a desire for that feeling to end? Examining with this kind of objective clarity, with mindfulness, what that sensation is like, and what our attitude and emotions around those sensations are like, because, of course, our attitudes towards physical discomfort and emotional discomfort are often the same. So continue to notice moment by moment what is going on, what is changing. And now let's slowly begin to lower that arm and notice the changing sensations as we lower the arm. I always notice here as I go parallel the changes, and then coming down, and then bringing my hand down and touching my knee. And I'm going to close my eyes. See if I can pay attention completely in each moment what's changing in my arm. Now I feel some sensation in my neck. Trapezius muscles here. So feel free to massage your shoulder, to move your neck around, to invite a bit of relaxation into the body. Roll your shoulders a few times. Move your head around. And so now maybe take a moment to see what breathing feels like. Do you know that you're breathing? Are you aware that you're breathing? Seeing if you can be completely aware of the sensation of inhaling and the sensations around exhaling. Maybe there's residual tension in the body from these exercises we've just completed. Does that tension show up in the breath? As you continue breathing, do you perhaps feel more ease as time goes on? Perhaps this intentional paying attention to breath is causing more tension. So exploring, mindfully aware of what's going on. So maybe breathing isn't as exciting as tension and discomfort, so it might be harder to pay attention and keep your attention at your breath. So noticing the difference between this activity and the previous one. Does your mind have anything to say about what's going on? Is there any commentary? Noticing what that commentary might be. And maybe also connecting to the fact that that commentary tends to happen all the time. In so many situations in my life, that little inner monologue comes up to kind of tell me what's going on. What do I think about this? What should I think about this? As best you can, continuing to observe the physical sensation of breath. So let's do our best to focus our attention fully on the next 3 breaths as we draw our practice today to its close. And so wherever you are, whatever you're doing, feel free to open your eyes once again. Feel free to stretch out. And if your eyes happen to have been closed, you can open them. Thanks for practicing with me. I hope this gives you some idea as well. I know we often do practice on breath, but know that mindfulness is accessible at any point in time. I think what tends to happen, especially in times of strong emotions, is we get lost in those emotions. And that little observation version of ourselves starts to disappear. And, as you can see, maybe in these times of physical discomfort, what starts to happen? What is the opinion? And maybe because, I don't know, I guess I don't know exactly what it was like for you, but I tend, sometimes the emotions I feel are really strong, and this discomfort is maybe, enough for me to have a small opinion about. So I can kind of see that opinion, and I can see that opinion with clarity. And so that's going to help give me access to that little window of clarity in those moments of big emotions as well. So that I have maybe a moment to go, is my anger justified? Is my opinion right now justified? It gives us that ability to kind of look with perspective. So thanks for joining today. I'm going to have a look at the chat now. So if you have any comments, what I would love to hear is how did it go today? I think it could be useful for other people who are on as well. So what did you experience today as you went through this practice? And also any questions about mindfulness-based stress reduction, I'm happy to answer. Yeah. I'm going all the way back up to 25 minutes ago. Jean said, just Singapore's business district looks like a futuristic world. It does look, it is kind of futuristic looking. The Marina Bay Sands is that building. It's like 3 buildings with like a boat on top. It's kind of Singapore's most iconic building at the moment. Micah says, I take it this format is more of an info to MBSR only. I wouldn't expect to have the same result of the whole course. I'm going to do my best to make it as accessible as possible so that if you'd like to be serious and take it seriously, that you can. But one thing that will be kind of missing is that, there is that transient nature. So there may be some people who are interested enough to take the course in its entirety and to take it seriously and to do all the meditations, and that could be really beneficial for you. But I'd say maybe the downside is that kind of camaraderie that we form with the other MBSR participants it won't be the same, because there will be people coming in and out, and the amount that someone might want to share would be different than if it were that closed container of people that you're going on that journey with. Rachel's just sharing in the meditation, went from strain to fatigue to pain in the shoulder and arm, both, and it showed that the right arm didn't bother me almost at all compared to the left arm. So it's interesting, right? These little things, it can be surprising. It can be surprising what we discover as we go through that, and not only about our bodies and about what our attitudes about our bodies and the sensations we feel might be. Micah says, more than once my attention was so focused on the physical sensations that I forgot to breathe. Thanks for sharing, Micah, and that's interesting too, right? So I'm really focused and like end up, maybe that can be part of my cue, is to remind everybody to breathe. Because I guess you're probably not alone there. Often when I'm teaching mindful yoga, I'll remind people to breathe, because it is something that can kind of disappear. Thanks, Eddie. My left arm was harder than my right, says Natalie Garr. Thanks. Over here's CC must have heard my meditation buddy. Here he is. It's Frank, the meditation cat. Thanks, Louis, and all participants. Thanks so much. Angela says, my right arm started tingling faster than my left. Guy says, Liz and my daily calisthenics made the arm raising pretty effortless. Okay, excellent. Yeah, that one, the Marina Bay Sands, is really, that's where there was I think you can find, for sure you can find it on YouTube if you're interested. This is the Year of the Dragon. They did a drone show in front of the Marina Bay Sands where a bunch of drones turn into a giant dragon and are flying around in front of Marina Bay Sands. It's pretty cool. If you've got a moment you want to check out Singapore. Jean says, aside from tingling and fatigue that I experience, I noticed some self-judgment about my physical abilities. Thanks for sharing. And that's I'm sure you're not alone in that. I'm sure that showed up for some other people as well. Sybil, I found that both my raised arms were very uncomfortable and mind wanted me to quit. I ignored this, so I felt many sensations. My neck and ribs got involved. I had to maintain a good posture, very focused. Thanks, Sybil. And that kind of brings me to, as well, ignored this, right? I ignored this. Kind of makes me go, what should you ignore and what shouldn't you? Maybe your body's telling you something. And I know, again, I'm not saying that you've done anything wrong by any means, but just for everyone to investigate what happened, what what should, what's going on. Investigate what's going on. And if we're so focused that we're not breathing, what what's this like too? So it's all interesting stuff. Thanks for sharing, everybody. Yes, Frank. Gar says hi, Frank. Thanks, Natalie. Cece, thanks for your donation. All right, I think I accepted the discomfort. Awesome. Thank you, Sybil, for sharing. All right, thanks, everybody. Just to tell you, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so I'm not going to come back on this coming Thursday, so I'm going to skip my usual Thursday session and come back 1 week from today and begin talking about the 9 attitudes of MBSR. So just want to rest a little bit more. I also noticed last night as I was sleeping, my little 1-year-old is like really also sick and not having a very pleasant night. So maybe spend a little bit more time tending to him and tending to myself to make sure that I get better so that I can be well equipped to better serve this community as well as the people that rely on me here in my home. So thanks so much. Let us send our well wishes out to each other, to ourselves, and to the world at large. So repeat after me if you like. You can just listen if you like. You can repeat out loud. You can repeat in your head. Whatever you like. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. And may all life on earth, near and far, big and small, may we all be happy and peaceful. Thanks again. Be well. See you in a week. Bye-bye.